We're now joined by Jill Ryan, who is one of the 4 leadership committee members of the South Orange Maplewood Safe Return to School organization. Jill, did I get that right?
That's right. SOMA for the Safe Return to School.
Well, South Orange Maplewood, one school district, one of many. I happen to be in Montclair, where our daughter, and we have a son and a daughter in the public schools. Again, as we speak, 23rd of March, things changing all the time. We have a date when there's supposed to be a new plan next month. Do you?
Our district is still following the phased plan that they created in August. And phase 4 is due to start on April 19th. We have a small number of students in school right now, and that's K through 2. They came back last week after a 2-week stint in January, and they were joined on Monday by 6th graders and 9th graders who also started for 2 weeks in January. And then the union pulled out, refused to teach, and everyone went virtual. And then they decided to come back and
But Jill, hold on 1 second. In the interest of time, it's a lot of details, I know. But the governor has said, Governor Murphy has said he wants schools to reopen. The CDC has come out with guidelines as we speak right now, 6 feet to 3 feet, depending upon a whole variety of other protective measures. What is stopping the schools from opening in South Orange and Maplewood?
I think they're really looking to the state to change the road back document. They see the CDC, they're sort of following the letter of the law from the CDC, and we keep saying they're guidelines, they're not rules. But New Jersey districts do have to follow state guidance from the NJDOE.
The Department of Education, what are they saying right now?
They still say 6 feet.
Okay.
Still using 6 feet language. Yeah. So
and this may be dated. I'm sorry for interrupting, Jill. This may be dated a month from now, 3 weeks from now when this is seen. But right now it's 6 feet on the state level, even though the guidelines for the CDC say 3 feet. What do you believe, by the way, the biggest difference? Because again, when I watch our daughter and our son in school, I wonder what's going on. And I know it's very difficult for teachers as well. And to disclose, the New Jersey Education Association is, in fact, an underwriter of what we do. And every union, every community has its own union. That being said, while it's tough for teachers, it's really tough for students. What do you believe the impact has been for students for being in remote learning this long? Even if you have a great teacher.
Right. Right. No, I think absolutely teachers are doing the best they can. And our issue is with the platform. Some learners just can't take information this way. It's not normal. I think every student is struggling in some way, whether it's academically, socially, emotionally. I have 2 kids in special education, 2 kids that are not neurotypical, and they absolutely cannot relate to the screen and cannot learn. Most students with IEPs in Maplewood and South Orange have not stepped foot in a classroom in a year. And we're seeing the consequences of that. Their wait times at the ER of 3+ days for the psych ER. Kids are really struggling. They have no community. Their community is school, and we've taken that away. So while everyone is struggling during this time, I think kids are the most, and they don't have a voice. So we aim to give them a voice and to help protect their rights.
Jill, do you believe the courts will ultimately decide this community by community?
I think ultimately the governor can make a change that would sort of end this and bring some normalcy back to 5 days.
He's the governor. He's not the emperor. So how could he do that alone?
He can lift the executive order that he put in place in August. Right. He left this in the hands of superintendents.
Yes, he did.
Yeah. Our superintendent wasn't prepared to bring every student back in at least an even hybrid model in September. And different districts have had different kinds of struggles. But I'm concerned by the level of I think it's indefensible, to be honest, with regard to the governor not taking a greater position with regard to this. You know, he says in the fall, his hope is that, his expectation is that
Right.
that students are back. But that's all we're hearing. We're not seeing how to do that. You know, the road back document has not been revised.
So I want to be clear, and by the way, we'll have leaders from the teachers union. They can speak for themselves, the superintendents, principals, et cetera. But it's interesting because some people argue that there should be, quote, local control over these decisions. You were saying you want the governor to just say, forget about the executive order, decide for yourself. The CDC plays a role in this. I'm not, it's not my job to take a position, but this, do you acknowledge, Jill, that this is complicated?
Oh, sure. We acknowledge that this is complicated, but the science has evolved with regard to how we understand COVID. And we know that school transmission is very small. It's so small. We know that schools are safe. We know that teachers are safe in schools, and we know that kids are safe in schools. And we know that the CDC guidance with regard to schools, the new guidance said that the community positivity rate is irrelevant. You know, they don't use that language. But with regard to elementary schools, they say regardless of the positivity rate, that schools can be back and should be back for in-person learning. So I think with that, we can learn quite a bit. And
hey, Jill, I'm sorry for cutting you off. Time is short, but I also want to remind people to watch NJ Spotlight News. The great team there. John Mooney is the best when it comes to education issues, who contributes to that program. Follow that program on a daily basis to find out what's happening. Jill, I promise you our series will not walk away from this issue. And thank you for joining us. Wish you, and especially your kids, and all the kids in South Orange and Maplewood, all the best, as well as the teachers. Thank you so much, Jill.
Thanks for having me.
I'm Steve Adubato. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.
One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation. Funding has been provided by the Healthcare Foundation of New Jersey, Holy Name Medical Center, Caldwell University, PNC, Grow Up Great, the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation, New Jersey Sharing Network, Summit Health, PSC&G, and by Newark Board of Education. Promotional support provided by the New Jersey Business and Industry Association and by NorthJersey.com and Local IQ, part of the USA Today network.
Data shows that many patients have avoided seeking critical health care in the wake of COVID-19 for fear of contracting the virus. Delaying medical care can have serious consequences, so you should never second guess or ignore your symptoms. At Holy Name Medical Center, we have measures in place to prevent infectious disease from spreading. We're clean, we're open, and we're safe for all your healthcare needs.